Oh, hi, everybody. My name is Marina Van Pelt, and I work here for Acoma's Health and Human Services Division as a prevention health promotion specialist. And I will let my teammates have their introduction.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joshua. I am a health promotion specialist with my peers.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Oyenki, and I'm also a health promotion specialist as well.
Hello, I am Mason Lewis. I also work for HGSD as a health promotion specialist.
And we will be the ones giving the presentation tonight. So here is Acoma's Behavioral Health Services team. Stuart Jones, addictions counselor. Megan Parmley, clinical psychologist. Brandon Pasquale, peer support specialist. Philip Garcia, peer support specialist. Leticia Sanchez, behavioral health clinician. Mark Lorenzo, Dolores Juanico, cultural liaison. Maria Van Pelt, Mason, Joshua, Stephanie, prevention health promotion specialist, that's us. Monica Lucero, Doctor of Oriental Medicine, and Dr. Teresa Meehan, who's our new executive director. So this is just to let the community know who works at Behavioral Health Services. And as you can see, we have a lot of different people there. So to help with different behavioral health options. So this is just the overview of what we'll be discussing tonight. Gaming in New Mexico, define gambling and types of gamblers, warning signs, define hidden addiction, American Gaming Association, Code of Conduct on Responsible Gaming, Sky City Casino and Hotel, the policies and procedures on self-exclusion, and responsible gaming resources.
Okay, we're going to touch on some statistics or some information relevant to gambling in New Mexico, Census 2020. The New Mexico population right now is sitting over 2 million. We have a Native American population that is just shy of 233,000. All the little blue areas that you see in the brown dirt in New Mexico is that 11% of the Native American population. There are a total of 23 Native American Pueblo tribes, and there are 14 gaming Pueblos and 23 gaming facilities in the state. Next slide, please. Definition of gambling. Gambling is any betting or wagering for self or others, whether for money or not, no matter how slight or insignificant, where the outcome is uncertain or depends upon chance or skill. Typically, what we like to ask the audience is definitely a question that stands out in terms of if skill is required for gambling. A lot of times everyone says no, but we do highlight that there is a chance that skill is required for some games such as table games. However, when an individual is playing a slot machine, typically skill is not really necessary. However, they do perform their habitual routines of setting up their charms or maybe rubbing the machine in the offset chance that that's going to help them win. However, again, it is a chance and skill is not necessarily needed to gamble on a slot machine. Next slide, please. Warning signs of problem gambling. We would like to ask, what are some warning signs that may be associated with an individual that has a gambling addiction disorder?
And you can either take yourself off mute or put your answers in the chat, or we can, if we don't hear a response, we'll just move on.
Go ahead and go to the next slide, please. There you go.
So These are additional warning signs. If you see, somebody borrowing money for gambling. So let's say they're going, person to person, asking to borrow some money. That might be a warning sign. Doing something illegal to get money for gambling. So some illegal activities could be, stealing or theft, even, prostitution, and only because, they're at Sky City Casino, the truck stop is very conveniently located, to the casino property. So it's going to be very easy for individuals to engage in prostitution to get money. We have gambling to win back losses. We also have bragging about gambling. So that's like exaggerating your wins or maybe minimizing, your losses. You could have somebody that could blow their whole paycheck, but say, I'll win it back. We also have jeopardizing a significant relationship or job by gambling. So, again, let's say you have an individual who is missing birthday parties or missing anniversary celebrations to, get a fix on their addiction. We have lying to hide time spent about gambling or lying about any unpaid debts. So again, that kind of corresponds to the very first bullet point up here, where it's borrowing money for gambling. So, you're gonna then have to pay back the people that you are borrowing money from. And then we also have preoccupied with gambling and unable to stop. So let's say, on breaks, you have individual who's maybe on their phone and they're engaging in some type of online gambling forum. And we also have restless and irritable when not gambling. So those last two slides kind of go, or those last two bullet points go hand in hand. So again, when COVID had hit, a lot of individuals, were unable to engage in their, gambling, practices because all the casinos had shut down. So again, you're probably going to see individuals, registering for those online gambling forums, maybe even having, gambling within their households. And so these are just, again, potential warning signs, to look out for. Next slide. So this slide talks about the types of gamblers, and it kind of goes from, the seriousness, level. So the first one, we have the casual social gambler. This person plays for fun and it does not interfere with family nor finances. And then we kind of go to this next level, professional. They play certain games, able to control time and money. We also have the antisocial. This individual prefers the solitude of gambling to interacting with people. So, probably on the casino floor, what you might see is a person who is maybe like unkept, they're just going to keep to themselves, maybe in the corner, they maybe have like headphones on, so they're not really going to, engage in maybe the beverage cart lady that comes by, or, they're not going to really talk to anybody. And the kind of the really, again, serious level are the next three types of gamblers. So we have the relief and escape. So this person gambles to maintain their type of fun, may have difficulties in personal responsibility. So we have the serious gambler. This individual gambles to overcome some relief of boredom, loneliness, depression, anxiety, binge gambles to deal with emotions. So a certain demographic that we probably see again on the casino floor is, those who are 60 and over, because maybe they are retired, maybe they are a widow, so they're just trying to like fulfill their time with, gambling. And then we have last tier, the compulsive gambler. They're unable to quit. They have unrealistic ideas of winning. They're preoccupied with gambling. Time and spending increases there at the casino, and maybe they're hiding losses from family and friends. Next slide. So this slide talks about a gambling addiction being the hidden addiction. And in many cases, the gambling addiction is hidden until the gambler cannot function without gambling. And they begin to exclude themselves from all activities. So again, this goes back to those warning signs of, them, seeking, seeking activities more at the casino as opposed to, going to birthday celebrations. There are no outward signs and symptoms, and it is not an ingested addiction like alcohol and or drugs. So, the signs and symptoms that we would look to for alcohol or drugs is like maybe like the yellowing of the skin or bloodshot eyes, or maybe, we know that their skin kind of tends to get a little bit darker or red. So those are signs and symptoms. However, with a gambling addiction, you're not really going to see, who might have that addiction. We also have here that there is an economic influence. So I just want to say thank you to those who have logged in just really quickly, Michelle and Raylyn, as well as Megan. So thank you for joining in. We're a few slides in, and so we're just going to go ahead and keep going. So like I was saying, there's an economic influence. So recent studies noted that lower income communities had twice the rate of gambling addiction than those communities closer to the national middle income levels. And so this is where I'm gonna ask if any of you could unmute yourself and, why do you think that is? Why do you think that lower income communities had twice the rate of gambling addiction than those communities, closer to that national middle income levels? And definitely you can enter into the chat, or you can also unmute yourselves. I think everybody is shy tonight, and that's okay. So, one of the reasons why are actually team members. Would you care to maybe add to like why there's an economic influence?
I'll add to that, Steph. With the impact on the cost of living is really a big influence. An example we like to use and share is that maybe it's a family and there's only one individual that is working, and it's possibly that they have a minimum wage job. So definitely cost of living is going to be really extreme, and the stress associated with it is going to entice an individual to find avenues to support their financial status. And oftentimes when people are working, specifically on their breaks, it may be that other coworkers, friends, or even family for that matter, may share their stories of winning. Of course, a winner always brags about the winnings and minimalizes the losses. So definitely having to have that be a big I think a point in terms of having to try to get to that level and win big is really going to try to get that person to come to the mindset that I am lucky, I'm going to win, but the chance is again 50-50.
Thank you, Josh. That's definitely right. Next slide, please.
And of course, this leads us to asking a question. You can type T or F in chat. And I want to ask is, not all individuals who gamble have a gambling problem. Is that true or false? Of course, it could go either way. Well, somebody could say true. Of course, you could go back to the slides and go back to the type of gamblers. where we could see that the type of gamblers, thank you, yes, we could look back at the type of gamblers that there are casual people who know how to handle going to casino. You know, when they've spent enough, you know, they shouldn't go to the ATM and take more money out. And of course, people would say false, as in saying like there's people who are regulars, of course, and then there are people who also have player cards who actually like pay more money to the casino just for the for their sweepstakes or whatever prizes they're giving out. And of course, this just goes to that. Of course, not everybody has a gambling problem, and of course, most people do. When they gamble, they can stop, or it's something that a lot of people have trouble on. But of course, that's just something that a lot of people need to notice for the community, is that people need to show that there is a gambling problem in the community. Next slide, please. And this leads us to finding out that 2 to 4% of gamblers develop a gambling addiction disorder. And with that, a problem gambler may have other co-occurring addictive behaviors such as alcohol, tobacco, and or substance use. And of course, for the second bullet point, when I thought about this, when I first learned about this, I was thinking, why would that any cause anything? And of course, when I go back to when I was little, of course, when we go to the restaurant, my parents will go to the casino. And of course, the one thing I noticed about the casino floor was that there was a certain smell that always came off of the casino floor, and that was smoke. And of course, there's smoking and non-smoking areas, but of course, it's all down to no smoking areas. And of course, don't forget, in the casino, there are bars. So there's just that easy access that most people will have when they're on the casino floor. And again, just to redefine this more, is that there are no outward signs or symptoms. It is not just an addiction. There are no outward signs. And same thing, when we're dealing with other narcotics or anything like that, you're going to see some type of symptom, as Cynthia previously stated. And this goes back to gambling addiction disorder has the highest rate of suicide amongst all addiction disorders. Now we could ask the question, why is that? Why is that the highest rate out of everything else? And of course, this leads us to that a lot of people, when they have a gambling problem, their addiction is so grasped onto them, is that they will take out money, they'll take out loans, they'll spend money, they'll do anything just to try and get that jackpot or anything like that. And of course, that'll lead them to spending more money, and it's eventually pile up where they will have crippling debt. And of course, that raises a lot of people who they can't find a literal sense way out of this. They dug the pit too deep for them to crawl out, so that just makes them lead to, of course, to complete suicide. And that's very saddening. And of course, but at the same time, we want to raise more awareness for this, because a lot of people may have this, and we want to provide them, or we have, and we'll give them the solution that they need, that they can rely on resources, or they could source for resources that will help them. Next slide, please. And then we go to the American Gaming Association Code of Conduct for Responsible Gaming. And Acoma Business Enterprise is responsible for promoting responsible gaming policies and practices, ensuring all toll-free helpline numbers are available to patrons, providing resource information on all casino floors, cash access devices, and game-related websites, providing information explaining the possibilities of winning or losing various games offered by the casino, allowing for patrons to request in writing the opportunity to request for the revocation or ban of privileges. Next slide.
So this slide here is going to talk about self-exclusion and banning. The self-exclusion is the choice of the patron to exclude themselves from gambling in writing. And AGA casino companies reserve the right to exclude a patron from gambling without a request from the individual. And so, the reason why they would, exclude a patron is maybe they were using, excessive aggression or force. So the banning is a method of resolving unwanted behavior, both criminal and non-criminal. This include minors. And like I said, using that excessive aggression and force. So, let's say you have an individual who is upset, that they lost, so much money. So, maybe they're going to, engage in some type of physical altercation with maybe a casino employee, or maybe, they're going to, hit the machine. And that's when, the casino has, the right to exclude a patron from gambling. Next slide. So this is the Sky City Casino and Hotel self-exclusion procedures. And the person who is going to, self-exclude themselves from the casino would contact the casino, the Sky City Casino and Hotel security department. They're going to respectfully escort, the patron to security department. A security officer and the requesting patron will complete the self-exclusion form. A photograph of the patron will be taken and attached to the form. The Sky City Casino and Hotel possesses policies and procedures to ensure team members are aware of patrons who have a self-ban and exclusion. And any ban, exclusion that is placed prohibits a patron from coming onto the following ABE property. So that's the Sky City Casino Hotel, the RV Park, the Sky City Travel Center, the Sky City Express, which is also called Skyway, and surrounding parking areas. So this is another question that we're going to ask of the audience. Why do you think that the ban and exclusion prohibits, anybody coming on from, let's say, the RV park, or the Skyway? Why do you think those properties are included? Well, one of the reasons why that, these properties are also included is because these are triggers. Yes, thanks, Marina. These are triggers. So at the Sky City Casino and Hotel, let's say you had a person just wanting to go into the property to grab a Starbucks. Well, a person who has let's say a self-exclusion, they're going to hear the lights, right? That's a trigger. Or they're going to hear everybody screaming like, yay, I won, or they're going to hear the chimes of the machines going off. And that's going to, trigger them to maybe want to go back and, just put in $5. But, they have a self-exclusion ban. So that's definitely one of the reasons why, they're not allowed onto any of the following properties. And then just again to note that statewide self-exclusion requests are filed with a New Mexico gaming representative in Rio Rancho. Next slide. So then again, these are just important notes about self-exclusion. For the Sky City Casino and Hotel, it lasts up for a minimum of 1 year from the signed date on form. If after that time the individual would like to have their self-exclusion lifted, the individual is required to send a letter explaining their reasons to the general manager of the casino. Self-exclusions are not removed until the general manager grants the approval and notice is provided to the patron. If the self-exclusion is lifted and self-exclusion is requested for a second time, the exclusion will remain in effect permanently. Winnings that result from gambling after self-exclusion shall be forfeited and are non-refundable. So again, if you had an individual who has a self-exclusion, they just want to be able to, put $5 into the machine or just play a quick, $20 on I don't know if we have table games at the casino, but you know, if you wanted to just put down some money on one of the table games, that money will definitely, if you want anything, shall be forfeited and not refundable. And again, just to note that statewide self-exclusion lists must be sent to a New Mexico gaming representative. Next slide.
On this slide, we have the available resources. First up is Acoma Behavioral Health Services. It is can be reached at 552-6661. They do operate along with ACL IHS on the same time frame from Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. They are offering client services. However, you do have to contact to schedule an appointment. Please know with the changes that have occurred with ACL IHS Hospital, there is still the behavioral health service available. A great resource, but definitely you do want to contact to schedule an appointment there. The next we have the Responsible Gaming Association of New Mexico. A lot of the information and the text that we've used throughout the presentation is used here, as well as from the Council on Problem Gambler and Gamblers Anonymous. All great resources. The expression we like to share is that as much time as we all spend surfing Instagram, Facebook, and checking out other sites, use some of that time to frequent some of these websites and get a little bit more education on resources available. Because of the seriousness provided in terms of the suicide, I would like everyone to take this number, much like it is a vital number like poison control. It's a number that you may not feel that is necessary, but definitely something to have on hand in the event something does happen. And we also have the very last one, which is New Mexico Crisis and Access Line, 2 different numbers. The last number, and both of them toll free, and the last one is going to be a peer-to-peer warn line. A lot of times when individuals or a group of individuals who may experience issues, personal issues, whether it be substance use, alcohol abuse, or mental health issues, there's a huge stigma attached to it. And a lot of times they don't want to disclose that information to family and friends. So an anonymous avenue to pursue would be to talk to this 24/7 access peer-to-peer warm line. Again, much like the suicide hotline, great number to have. Definitely keep it on the post it on the fridge, wherever you may have vital other numbers, the calendar, or even just in your wallet or your purse. Good information to have. Next slide, please. And then that is it, team. We are done. A lot of the information, again, can be found on the sites that you see here, as well as contacting the Pueblo of Acoma Health and Human Service Division, specifically the Acoma Behavioral Health team, which does have a gambling addictions outreach program. We do facilitate training to our Acoma Business Enterprise employees. There is annual training for them, as well as all new hire employees get it. So they are there to assist patrons at the casino, as well as we are offering another virtual responsible gaming facilitation training that, or actually just training in general. It's going to be anticipated to be at the latter part of this year. So definitely something to look forward to. We encourage you to definitely take, the time and effort to know how, this affects loved ones as well as maybe yourself, but definitely there are resources available. And as like the second slide had identified, we're here to help. So definitely we welcome any questions, comments, and we are here for phone calls.